What's up, guys? Welcome to another speed build. Happy Friday to all of you. I hope you're all looking forward to the weekend just like I am. Today we are over in Newcrest and I am building a base game only bar, and yes, this is one of the final builds I have left for my Newcrest save file. And if you are a new viewer of mine and you have no idea what I'm talking about, I am building Newcrest from the bottom to the top using only the base game, and we are one build left after this one to be completely done with it, and I am so excited to finally share it with you guys. It really honestly has been a long time coming. I am not going to lie, I have been spending quite a bit of time on this, but I mean, I just come to it, you know, when I feel like building base game, and I'm taking my time. I don't know what to say. But yeah, we are almost done, so I am so excited. Also, if you are new and you are interested in seeing all of my other builds in regards to this save file, I do have it all in a playlist together, and it is called Building Newcrest Using Only the Base Game or something of the sort. All of the videos I have made for this save file are all in that playlist. Some of them are speed builds, well, the majority of them are speed builds. And then I have some like create a sim in there. I didn't do create a sim videos for each and every family I have in my save file, but I did it for some of them. So, I mean, those are in there as well. And that's about it. There's speed builds and there's some create a sim. And I do tell the story with the family of the ones that I actually made into a video. Each of the families in this save file, they do have their own storyline. That's part of the reason why it's taking so long also, because I'm like trying to think of a unique storyline for each of these families and make it only base game. And so yeah, I'm just spending a lot of time on it. I'm trying to make it as good as I can do it. And another reason why it's taking so long, because I am, not the best with community lots. They're kind of hard for me to do for some reason. I spend a lot of time on community lots, and I have a habit of like starting a build and then like bulldozing it and then like starting it again and then bulldozing it again. I can't tell you how many times I have done that on this particular build before I finally got to this design, and I am really honestly quite happy with the way that it turned out. I think it looks really good with it only being base game, and obviously I hope you guys feel the same way. If you do enjoy this video, then please leave a like so I know to continue making base game community lots similar to this one, and also subscribe if you have not already. I really appreciate each and every one of you guys so much that takes the time to watch my videos, like my videos, and also interact with me down in the comments below. I really love reading your comments. It honestly really makes my day, and I appreciate it so much. I cannot thank you all enough. But with that being said, let's go ahead and talk about today's build a little bit, shall we? As far as the overall vibe I was going for this bar, obviously I wanted to keep the modern theme going on that I have going on all of these community lots in this section of Newcrest. I was kind of going for like a sports bar sort of thing, like a modern sports bar. And we have like that area on the second level on the right side with the trellis over it. That is actually going to be an outside bar area with plenty of outside seating. It's honestly going to be perfect for like any sort of family get together or maybe career event, work event, or something like that is kind of what I was aiming for. I almost put that long banquet table that we recently got in an update up there because I feel like that would be perfect to put like food and stuff on, but for some reason they made it to where you cannot actually physically clip objects onto the table. You have to actually go into game and click on the table and, oh yeah, there's the table. There's the table I'm talking about. For some reason, they made it to where you have to actually go into game and click on the table and have your sim physically stock the table. And I can't tell you how much I hate that, because now you're kind of, you have to go with how they put the food on the table. And sometimes these sims don't know how to organize things very well, and there might be like a plate of food on the left side and then they put another plate of food all the way on the right side, and it's like crooked or something. I don't know. I kind of don't like how they did that, but you can kind of see the vibe I originally was going for. And I actually went to a place like this not so long, maybe about a year ago at this point. It was for the retirement party of like the manager I was working for, and we went to a certain restaurant in downtown Tampa, and it looks kind of similar to this, okay? This whole restaurant slash bar that I'm working on, I was thinking of the place I went to in real life, and it looks similar to this. And there was an outside area a lot like this, and so yeah, that's kind of where the inspiration came from. But at the moment, I do have that table out here, but I am about 90% sure that I end up completely removing the table because I just couldn't get it to really look as good as I wanted it to. I almost put that backsplash behind it, like that party background where, you know, people usually take selfies in front of, but that was not fitting the vibe, okay? And so I totally delete that, and I actually rearranged the whole outside altogether, to be honest. The way the bar is, I do place it more against the actual building so that it does have a bar back. As you could see, I was trying to put just some liquor bottles or juice bottles, sorry, this is The Sims, some juice bottles behind the bar, but there was no back there, and I really hated the way that it looked. It was kind of like an eyesore, and we're not going for eyesore here. We're going for pretty. We're going for cute. We're going for stylish. And you probably seen me grab those fans with the plumb bobs on them. I really, really wanted to make those work, and they just were not looking that good. The way that I have the tables, I wanted to place one over each of the tables, maybe not each of them, but at least like a few of them. But the majority of the tables are on the outskirts of this area. And so the fans would have just been kind of dangling off the edge, and it wouldn't have looked that good. But then if I only placed a couple over like the two tables in the center, then it kind of looks kind of off, you know? Here I am grabbing them again, and then I almost put one over the bar. I guess now that I'm looking at it, it really doesn't look that bad. I just really liked the way it looked better without them. There was something off about it. The reason why I wanted to put those is because the place I went to had ceiling fans out there, and it looks nice and it looks realistic, and it makes it look like upscale for some reason, and I just really like those plumb bob fans, okay? That probably is not a popular opinion. I heard a lot of people don't like them. They are kind of hideous, but in a good way, because they're plumb bobs, and this is The Sims, and I mean, I love plumb bobs, and I love The Sims, and so I always try to use those fans, and I never can use them. And it's kind of sad, but I do have a little bit of a story about the place that I went to that is similar to this, and it's kind of a funny story, but it's kind of like not funny because somebody could have got seriously hurt, but they didn't, and that is why it's funny. But like I was saying, this was a work event, right? And so it was me and my husband, but was my fiance at the time. We went, and a lot of my coworkers went. It was a retirement party for our old boss, the old owner of the company. And so it was like all of us here, but it was also like all of his colleagues from over time, if that makes sense. So there was like quite a bit of people up there in that little like rooftop bar area. And they had fans. And but before I finish the story, I do have to say that the food choices that they had here was awful. They were awful. I'm not a seafood person. I mean, I love crab and I love shrimp, and that's about it. I am not a fish person. especially not raw fish. And I mean, this is probably the fault of the owner's wife because she is the one that planned this, but they had like these raw tuna tacos, guys, and they looked nasty, they smelt nasty, and I'm sure they taste nasty. I mean, they were like the only things left over after that. And then they had like these little mini like burger bites, and I love a good burger, but they were dry. And yeah, but that's not part of the story. That was just a little tidbit that I wanted to include. But so we're all like sitting hanging out. I was talking to one of my coworkers at the time, and I mean, I was facing the incident as it happens, but I still didn't know what happened. I had a little drink with me and I was talking, I just wasn't paying attention. But my coworker was sitting in front of me, and so her back was turned, and so of course she didn't see it happen. I could have seen it, but I was too busy drinking my drink, and so I missed it. But I seen the aftermath, and I seen everybody freaking out. But so everybody was just talking, minding their own business, and there was like ceiling fans. The reason why I'm telling you this is because I was talking about those Plumb Bob ceiling fans. Well, this place had ceiling fans outside, and they had like ceiling fans that had like 3 blades on them, and I already feel like that's unsafe as it is, and you'll understand why in a minute. So like everybody was just like talking, hanging out. There's like a bar out there, and this particular coworker of mine was sitting at the bar with his wife, minding his own business. And all of a sudden I'm like seeing like all these people rush over to somebody, one of my coworkers, and they're like looking at this ceiling fan that now has 2 blades on it, and it's all like wobbling around, and like it's all tipsy turny. It looks like it could fall at any moment. And I'm like so confused as what happened. I see my coworker holding the back of his head with the bag of ice, and I'm like, oh my god. I'm like putting 2 and 2 together. I'm like, did he get hit with a fan blade in the head, like at a restaurant / bar? I've never seen that before in my life. And like all of the workers that worked there, for some reason didn't know how to turn the fans off, and so they were like running around with like chickens with their heads cut off and like trying to figure out how to turn the fans off, and they were turning every single fan off besides that one. And you know, bless their hearts, they were trying. They really were trying. They look horrified. The manager, I don't know, he looked like he kind of didn't care. To be totally honest, maybe this has happened before. That's kind of a lawsuit, you know. I would have definitely been freaking out if I was the manager. But thankfully I was not. And yeah, and he did not get hurt. He had like a red mark on the back of his head, obviously. But it wasn't bleeding. He didn't have a concussion that we know of. I don't think he ever went to the doctor or anything, but I mean, he was fine. It wasn't even really swollen. I'm surprised it wasn't worse than what it was, because the fan was on. And so, I mean, if you've ever been a kid and like you placed your stuffed animals on the fan blades and then you turned it on, how fast they would fly off. And like, that's a stuffed animal. So can you only imagine a fan blade like just breaking off a fan and flying and hitting somebody in the head? Oh my gosh, I like was so stunned that even happened, because I've never seen that before in my life, anywhere, anyone's house, let alone a public space. And the fact that they were all running around not knowing how to turn it off, and like everybody was just staring at the fan, like just like wobbling there. And I was starting to freak out at that point. I'm like, y'all need to turn this fan off, because maybe like go ahead and turn all these off. How about that? But yeah, I mean, basically that's the story. It was funnier in person. Now that I'm saying it out loud, it's not that funny. It sounds more concerning than it is funny. But I knew that coworker was fine. And what made it even funnier was this particular coworker always had something happening to them. Like, he got stung by a bee one time, and then like he was like, I mean, no, I'm not allergic, but my fingers are swelling and now I can't take my wedding ring off. And it's like, dude, I think you're allergic. So yeah, I mean, that's part of the reason why it made him so funny, because that particular coworker just, you know, he didn't have the best luck. Let's just put it that way. But yeah, I mean, just a little bit of a story there for you guys. I say a little bit of a story, but I mean, it's about a 5-minute story. And, but yeah, I wanted to share that with you guys. But on another note, while I was telling you guys that story, we went through a transition in the video, and for some reason, like, I don't even know how this happened, because I could have sworn I recorded everything that I did on this build, but for some reason I was missing like a super large portion of it. Like, I redid some of the front and some of the back, and for some reason, like, that video is nowhere to be found in my folder. And so yeah, I really don't know what happened. And you also missed me actually laying out the floor plan. So yeah, that sucks. I'm sorry guys, that really does suck. I was really disappointed to see that that part was gone, because I have a section of a bar inside. So we have the outside bar and we have the inside bar. Yes, there's only one bartender that spawns on the property, but I am pretty sure, I think someone commented on one of my videos before that there is a certain mod you can get that spawns more than one bartender. So you could totally download that mod, or you could just do what I do and go to the bar that the bartender spawns at. And so yeah, just a little bit of a disclaimer there, but we do have an inside bar, and I actually cut out the ceiling or the floor on the second story, and so that particular bar on the inside has a back bar with a whole bunch of bottles like stacked up on top of each other, going along that whole wall, even through the ceiling. And it actually looks pretty cool. You're at least able to see it here. And once I furnish the second story, you'll really be able to see it then. But yeah, I mean, that sucks that you guys were not able to see me actually build it and put it together. But you can at least see the finished product. And then we also have some bathrooms on the first story and the second story, and they're off in like the back of the build. And so yeah, I really hate the fact that I did not record all of it. I do not know what happened. I don't know if I accidentally deleted that part, or if I just didn't record and I was too far along into my build to really go back. I really don't know what happened, but at least we have a long enough video of me building to actually have a video to share with you guys, you know what I mean? So it's better than not having anything to share at all. And everything that I built off camera, at least I'm building enough and decorating enough that you're able to see what I actually did, if that makes sense. But ceiling fans. I'm sure you guys are so tired of hearing about ceiling fans, but I do have several in, well, I was going to put several in this build, but I do end up keeping that one plumb bob one where the big screen TV is. And so that's super fun. At least I was able to use that plumb bob ceiling fan somewhere. And so I guess that's a little bit of a nod to the situation that happened at the place that inspired this build. So since I was designing this to be kind of like a modern sports bar, I decided to put several TVs in this build. So we have two over by the front area where the inside bar is, and there's a couple of tables right in front of those TVs. And then you've seen that super large TV I have in front of the sofas. And then I also put a game system right there. We do have a game console and base game, if you're not aware, that came in like one of the quests that we had. And so I thought it was perfect to place over in front of the big TV. You can either play games with your friends over there, or you can just watch like one of the sports games with all of your friends. I feel like this would be a really fun place to watch a sports game at. I can just see a lot of people like cheering on their favorite team and having a good time. And yeah, I think this looks like a really good like modern sports bar. It looks like nice and upscale, but like people love sports at the same time. It's not like a traditional sports bar. And then I have 3 more TVs upstairs as well. And upstairs on the inside, I have some game tables. We have game tables downstairs. We have like 2 that is right in front of the area where the sofa and the big TV is. And then upstairs we have 3, and then we have TVs right by each of those game tables. I feel like it would be perfect to have your Sims play games, like some card games or whatever comes with base game, and then watch their favorite sports team at the same time. Now, as far as the wall decorations go, I was really trying to think of what you would find in a normal sports bar. And like a normal sports bar, you would see a lot of different like artwork and sports teams, like pictures of sports teams, and maybe like some sports memorabilia on the wall, like stuff like that. And since this is upscale, I didn't want to do like an overboard of a bunch of different styles of wall decor. And so I'm really just going through what I can find in base game, which is slim pickings as it is, and placing what I think I would find in an upscale sports bar on the wall. And you know, we need some sort of sports stuff somewhere, and the only wall decor sports items there are those like posters of the people running. And so I just grabbed some of those and I placed them on the wall upstairs. And I wanted to put this sad clown somewhere, and so I decided to put like 3 of them going up the staircase, and I really like that for some reason. I don't know why. I love the sad clown. I think he's so cute. And of course, no bar in general would be complete without a couple of dartboards. And so I did put a couple of those upstairs as well. And this area, I struggled with what I should put there. I ended up, right now I have 2 desks, but yeah, I delete those and I just put 1 desk up here. And the reason why I decided to put a computer on this build in general is because I tend to always need a computer at a bar for some reason, or I tend to go to a bar if I'm doing like my legacy challenge, or like not legacy challenge, but the rags to riches challenge, and I have no computer. Then I go to some random community lot in hopes that there would be a computer there. And a lot of the time I always go to the bar for some reason, and there's never a computer in any bar that I ever go to. And so I figured it would be super useful for anybody, you know, to download this build or download my save file when it is available, and then you'll be able to go to probably any of the community lots and have a computer. I think the only one I don't have a computer on is probably the nightclub, which I feel like is, you know, self-explanatory as to why. But for some reason I felt like I needed to add a computer here. This would be a pretty good area to get married at for base game. Like, I do have a wedding venue in this save file. It is a park wedding venue. But if you're not interested in having a park wedding venue, then you could totally come to this place and add like a wedding arch somewhere, probably in the back area. I do change the back area from what it looks like now. I was trying to add some sort of like backyard area that people could just sit and chill at, and it felt like you're in like a garden, but I wasn't really having much luck designing it, so I went a totally different route in that area, and you'll see that here in just a little bit. But I feel like this would be a really good area to either have, if not a wedding, then like an engagement party, or maybe your reception or something like that. And if you do have a wedding here, you probably need a computer, because every time I throw a wedding party in The Sims, I always forget something that I have to order from the computer. I think you can only order wedding cakes if you have My Wedding Stories, but I'm sure there's something you'll have to get ordered from a computer. And so that is really the main reason why I wanted to add a computer here in this build, is in case you guys needed to order anything for a party, or maybe your Sim's just bored and you don't have a computer at home, you can play on it here. I feel like it would be better to add it just in case than to not add it at all. Now, as far as the back area goes, I tossed around a couple of different ideas. You guys seen one of the other ideas. I cut out some of it though, just because I did a few different things, and this is what I ended up coming out with. This back area is more of just like for show. You do have some chairs back here, but as far as the water fountains are concerned, I really just did that for decoration, to be honest. I feel like it looks really good and it matches the water fountains that I have out front, to be honest. And it kind of gives the garden vibe that I originally was going for. And I think this would be a really fun area to just hang out at with your, your drinks and your friends, and just sitting around talking, and then maybe taking some selfies here and there. I feel like that would be a really good area for that. And I made a last minute decision to go ahead and change all of these little tables that I have inside and outside on the top patio as well. I changed it from the regular glass, like the modern glass, to this glass that has like a wood trim. I feel like it made it look a lot more like a modern sports bar and not just like a regular modern bar. Something about the wood trim makes it look a little bit more sporty to me. And so I decided to go ahead and change all of those out, and I think it made it look a lot better, in my opinion. It gives it a little bit more detail or something. But yeah, I mean, we reached the end of today's build. I really hope you enjoyed today's build, and once again, I apologize that a pretty large portion of it was cut out already. I hate the fact that I cut out a large portion and I don't know what happened. But I'm glad that I had at least something to show you guys. I suppose something is better than nothing, right? Oh, one last thing I do want to tell you guys, that I put some of the stereos that have just one stereo channel on there. I wanted you to be able to walk in and just already have the music playing. I added the ones with the R&B radio station, and I feel like that music fits this place perfectly, to be honest. But obviously, if you do not like it, you could totally swap those out for a different radio station. But that is all I have for you guys for today. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Of course, if you did, please do not forget to leave a like and also subscribe if you have not already. I hope you have an amazing weekend. Enjoy the screenshots, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye, guys.